Peace and blessings to you and your family. This is your brother, Gary, kicking off the People Want to Know Morning Show, PW2K. And the purpose of this show is to build on the legacy of those who've gone before us by trying to pave the way and creating stimulating dialogue and discussions and solution-based answers that we can relate to one another better. Whether black, white, red, green, yellow, the foolishness must stop. I'm Brother Gary, your brother, better known as Gary, and I'll be your host for the show. We're going to take a look at a couple of things. I have to stop the music right now. I'd like for you to join in live if you can. Educators, motivators, stimulators, instigators. It doesn't matter. Just join in live if you can. We're going to be talking about Albany, Georgia, and some history and some things that has transpired. Not only just talking about it, trying to magnify the problem, but we want to get some solution and share some solution-based things that have already here for us. But we just got to look back and take a look at some of those things. And the first thing I'd like to do is just remind you to pick up a copy of the Southwest Georgia newspaper every week for the past 6 to 7 years. I've been writing an article entitled People Want to Know. And before that, we did what we call a street ministry type of media ministry, where we went around with a camera and we talked to several people all over Southwest Georgia about some of the situations, some of the problems, some of the things that we see that need to be improved in Southwest Georgia. And we put it on in DVD format, and a lot of the local barbershops, beauty salons, and they supported it very well. And a friend of mine, actually the editor of the newspaper, Mr. A.C. Searles, he encouraged me to, whatever I do, to continue doing what I do. I want to give a special shout out. A friend of mine, Charles. Good to see you, Charles. Good get to hear from you, Charles. Church Green and Luke Mon is on the line. So we're gonna just go into the article. I posted this article on my page called "Crime and Economic Leverage," and I would just like to read the article and just try to build on that. How you doing, Charles? Pleasure to see you, man. Pleasure to hear from you. In 1963, Albany, Georgia was one of the cities noted for anti-discrimination. If you can read along with me, I think I posted it on the page twice. It's a little bit blurry. We're going to work on that and try to get that together as well. But follow along with me if you can. We're going to deal this morning with what happened to our economic leverage, because some reason we don't seem to want to solve the problem. We continue to do things the same way that we've done. And we've had actually some great solutions that we're overlooked from Dr. King, Operation Breadbasket, and so many others who sacrificed and laid their life down that we could have a better future for our children and ourselves as well. But I'd like to just read this article. It begins in 1963, this city, Albany, Georgia, was one of the cities noted for anti-discrimination and voting rights effort that spurred the passing of the Civil Rights Bill, or the Civil Rights Act, in 1964, and the Voting Rights Act in 1965. Dr. King organized the Poor People's Campaign to highlight the statistics of the problem facing the country's poor. I want to stop right there because we all know that there has been a rash of crime. And if you notice, most of the crime that's been committed here in Southwest Georgia deals with robbery. Robbery has, every now and then there's domestic problems, but usually it stems from robbery. So we're going to look at that a little bit closer so we can kind of offer some solution. The campaign led up to a march on Washington, and I know you're familiar with that in '63. I want to give a shout out to Jeffrey. Good morning. The campaign led up to a march on Washington, and a $12 billion economic bill was granted. Operation Breadbasket was an organization dedicated to improving the economic conditions of black communities across America. And of course, you want to ask, why improve black communities? If you know the history of how policing actually started, you would understand that some of the policies that have been made is basically to keep blacks and the poor in check. But we're going to go a little bit further. Operation Breadbasket, was formed a little bit. First time, you're just going to get the jitters out, but we're going to get down into this thing. Operation Breadbasket was formed as a department of the SCLC, and that's the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Back in '56, actually, that conference, they began to go around and get people registered to vote and giving them voter education. Some of the exact same things that we are doing today, they actually kicked that off back in the early 40s and 50s. And we seem to be still doing the same thing. Not that it's wrong, but we're going to just look at it and we're going to try to improve if we can. And in 1962, and it was operated by Pastor Fred Burnett of Atlanta, Georgia. In 1966, Jesse Jackson was selected to head the Chicago chapter. So they had a chapter in Atlanta, and a chapter was open in Chicago, and they chose Reverend Jesse Jackson to head that chapter. The key goal was selective buying of goods and services to leverage the buying power to create jobs. Now, powerful, powerful, powerful. I'm going to read that again. The key goal of this Operation Breadbasket was selective buying of goods and services to leverage the buying power to create jobs. As we know in Southwest Georgia, we've kind of thinned out to just barbershops, beauty salons, and a couple of brothers cut grass and so on. But back in the early 60s and 70s, there were so many businesses all over Southwest Georgia owned by blacks. There was what we call a black economy. Right now, if you look up on the internet, Google black economy, they don't even give us a number for having a black economy. Only thing they talk about is how much we spend. But I'm a former business owner, and I do understand economics and why creating an economy is very important. Bear with me if you can. We're going to look a bit further into the leveraging of selective buying of goods and services and how to leverage the buying power to create jobs. The pulpit was used to persuade businesses to employ a fair share of blacks. We won't get into that one. Okay. Black Christmas and Black Easter urge African Americans to do their shopping among each other. I want to also give a shout out to Brother Kwawi. He's in the house. And just want to thank you for tuning in. If you can, phone a friend, Facebook, somebody, let them know. The People Want to Know morning show is on, and we're gonna be going in. We're gonna ask some questions. As a matter of fact, I got a live line that I'm gonna give you the number to call if you want to get in by the end of reading this article and give your questions, comments, concerns, or whatever. We're gonna give you a number to call, and we're gonna make this thing live and make it real wholesome and family orientated. Okay, Black Christmas, Black Easter urge African Americans to do their shopping among each other. Powerful, powerful. Now, my question is, what happened? Why have we gotten away from that? Basically because we don't have a whole lot of businesses to do shopping with each other. When we have Black Friday, I never seen people sleeping in front of a black-owned store. I never seen people pushing the door down trying to get in a black-owned store. If you have comments, it's okay. I'm going to continue to read, but I do invite you once again to pick up a copy of the Southwest Georgian newspaper. This article is in that newspaper, and it's entitled, People Want to Know Crime and Economic Leverage. What happened to our economic leverage? Because we continue to lose it. Let me go just a little bit further. In the next 6 years, Breadbasket efforts earned 4,500 jobs in Atlanta and Chicago and had economic gains to amass $57.5 million annually by 1971. Pastor Leon Sullivan of Zion Baptist in Philadelphia was instrumental in leveraging over 5,000 jobs for unemployed blacks. In addition, the model of Operation Breadbasket stimulated the philosophy that Atlanta's Mayor Maynard Jackson embraced. Of course, Mayor Jackson in the early 70s, he kind of kicked off the Chocolate City. He brought a lot of jobs, and a lot of millionaires were made in the early 70s due to some of his policy, because he came in with the means of trying to make sure that we had the economic leverage that we need. Right here in Southwest Georgia, we're about 70% African American, and I won't say it's a crying shame, but it's a shame. I'm going to take it just a little bit further. Under the motto of Maynard Jackson, under the motto of Fight for Jobs and Rights, the program put bread on the table and employed thousands. Consequently, still today, we are seeking jobs and justice. Still today, we wonder why our children are in the streets acting a fool, murdering, robbing, doing all sorts of crazy things. And our only answer is increase the policing, when actually we have to get down to the cause in order to understand the effect. Cause and effect is always universal law, and we always been taught that. Before I go any further, because there's a lot of information right there that I think that we need to consume, we need to try to take a look at, because those particular ideals, Operation Breadbasket, I think, is basically the empowerment, economic empowerment that we need, as well as, of course, self-development, because we need to work on some things when it comes to the way we treat one another and act toward one another. So there has to be some type of outlet, and most of our outlets been dissolved, I might say. Back in the days, you had the Slater Kings, and you had the King family was doing a lot of things, and a couple of other people were involved that made a big difference. And right now, things has kind of dwindled down into nothingness, and that's why it's so important for us as a people. I want to give a shout out also to Brother Kwawi in the house. That's Uncle Tony from way back. What's up, Uncle? How you doing? DJ Thomas in the house too. A lot of people from Albany, Georgia. Of course, you know the history of Albany, Georgia. But what I'm hey, how you doing? What I'm basically trying to express this morning is the importance of economic leverage and how we're losing our leverage. We basically lost our leverage. Back in the day, I mean, like I said earlier, man, we had so many businesses all over Southwest Georgia. We can start in the Harlem district, Mr. York down there with the service station, Connie's Corner. We had some Mr. Cochran, on and on. Some of them are still trying to hang in there. And, of course, my friend, Mr. Searles, and so many others that had businesses all over the place. Big Daddy's, Shabazz Restaurant, and on, the Wagon Wheel up a little bit further on up the road. But right in that district alone, if we kind of mosey our way down River Road back in the day, see, I'm from this area, so I understand what has transpired, we've gone from okay to it's sickening. I want to also thank another business owner who just chimed in. How you doing, Sister Lisa? I just want to thank you for tuning in. I'm going to be going, just talking about some of the history. See, oftentimes we get kind of caught up into not knowing the history of what's going on, because we have the solutions right in our face, but we keep overlooking the solutions. And I want to just give you a definition of leverage. Leverage is to bring balance. In order to have any type of equality, the root word is level, level. Of course, we are so far behind the eight ball, it's going to be hard to level the playing field. But in order to have any leverage, we have to use the tools that we have in order to create leverage. But we are not using those tools. And of course, voting is one of the tools. But, you know, as Dr. King and Reverend Abernathy and, of course, Reverend Jackson was a part of it as well. We're going to get into that as well. They tried to use the tools that they had, and the tools that we have as a people. We got entertainers, we got athletes, and right now we just got a whole lot of money. Thank you for Derek for getting there. Good to hear from you, Derek. Hi, what's up? But we have a lot of tools that we could be using that we didn't have a long time ago, and that's what makes this program, Operation Breadbasket, so attractive. We should kind of look at trying to put bread on the table. And the only way we're going to put bread on the table, we're going to have to be employed. We're going to be able to not just be employed, but be deployed and be able to create our own and support our own. But for some reason, we lack that understanding. So it's not a hard thing. We just have to remind ourselves to remind ourselves. Also, a special shout out to the coach. What's up? Didn't mean to put you out there, but good to hear from you. There's some things that we must do right now in order to get what we call leverage. Now, I'm going to go a little bit deeper into leverage because leverage is a verb. It means to gain an advantage through the use of a tool. Now, what tool do we have that we could probably use as leverage? And we know that it's money. You know, some people are making some serious money. But right now, you know, they have the mentality, I got mine, you get yours, that kind of mentality. And we are not using the tools that we could use when it comes to sometimes athletes, entertainers, and people that amass a fortune. They just want to bling bling and kick it. But we still have this struggle in front of us, and we're losing the battle. I want to also give a wave out to, once again, to Sister Gwen, big sister. Always good to hear from you. In my community and neighborhood, she's always on the move, and she's been a fighter for a long time. And when I say fight, I don't mean physically fighting, but fighting against injustice and those things that hinder us. Let's go just a little bit further. Earlier, when I talked earlier about the two different departments that were set up under the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. I got to explain something. The Southern Christian Leadership Conference was a brainstorm of Dr. King and the movement. And, of course, that was the stimulator for the voting rights bill. It started in the late 50s, mid-50s, actually. And they did an outstanding job of educating people the importance of voting and, of course, getting people to the polls. Of course, so many people died, so many people were beaten, so many people went through so many adversities to try to just be able to vote. And I understand why we're so adamant about voting, but there has to be some balance here. We have to get into the leverage of the economic side as well, or we'll continue to be waiting on someone to do for us what we could do for ourselves if we only knew. Look, couple other things I want to point out while we're dealing with this. SCLC was very instrumental, of course, because during that time, as I said earlier, people were going through torture just to be able to vote. And I want to encourage people to vote. Right now, we keep getting caught between a rock and a hard place. We usually are a day late and $1 short because what happens is we have to choose between the lesser evil because we're not priming candidates. We're not really teaching people what this is all about when you deal with policy making. And policy making has kind of worked against us because usually the people that are put in place are already have a price and their hand is tied. So we're going to have to deal with that. And that's why I'm here. People want to know. People want to know what's going on. And I'm here to help encourage people, to help enlighten people and educate people just from a straight up point of view. I also like to give a shout out to a couple other people who chimed in. If you can, call your friends, phone them, let them know. Every Thursday morning at 10 o'clock, I'll be going in from 10 to 10:30, and we're going to talk about not only just some of the things, the article in the Southwest Georgia, but we're going to be talking about some of the things that are actually going on when it comes to crime and senseless murder and that type of things. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be having the coroner, a couple of other people on the show. So we just going to get down right here in Southwest Georgia and let the whole world know that we are aware. We are from Albany, Georgia, one of those cities, as I said earlier, that was very instrumental in the whole nation being able to do some of the things that they're doing right now, especially in the grassroots community. I want to go a little bit further in the article because right now we are moving into almost this kind of animalistic type of behavior for the lack of self-development. I want to say, just add, subsequently, the planned assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King created the ripple effect needed to cause dissension. Now, we know what dissension is, and we know why Dr. King had to be taken out, I might say, and why the government conspired. I'm just straight up. I mean, to take him out, because at that time they was really getting the leverage they needed. As I said earlier, $57 million grant was passed, and the government had to do something. And they felt like if they took Dr. King out, the head out, and usually when they take the head out, we are left because the body can operate without the head. Special shout out to the family of Reverend Ralph Abernathy, because they were very instrumental in the movement. C.T. Vivian, and I can go on and on. Jimmy Jackson got killed, and on about the movement. But we can't muddle in that. We gotta build on what they've already done, and that's what people want to know. The mission of people want to know is all about building on the legacy of those who've gone before. At that particular time, Reverend Jesse Jackson was appointed in Chicago, and after Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated, Reverend Jesse Jackson, he created another organization called Operation Push. There was some disparities going on between him and Ralph Abernathy, and of course, Pastor Burnett, but we won't get into that because we understand sometimes, we have our differences and ways that we try to seek support. So actually, it stemmed from the support that was being given, and sometimes one person want to go one way and the other want to go the other. When Dr. King kind of had a head on the way that thing was going to go, but they took him out. Okay. That's what usually happens. And have you noticed since that time of Dr. King, a couple of years later, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he passed away. And since then, we kind of been wandering in the wilderness, walking around. This is not a religious show, but we have to use scripture so we can understand the foundation and how we are in line with prophecy in order to get the solution. Are you with me? Once again, Ricky Walker, want to give a special shout out to the Seed Nation. Brother been trying to shake it up and try to get some youth and parents involved into a wonderful program that he has right downtown, and we want to give him a special shout out. Also, he was my co-host for about 2 years with the People Want to Know morning show, and he's a very, very, very in tune brother. I might say in tune. Some people like to use the word conscious. But conscious, just being aware of what's going on, because there are a lot of people that are what we call unconscious, and we just want to wake you up and shake you up just a little bit, because people want to know, even though there are some people that don't want to know. We realize that we're gonna try to cater to those who want to know. Also, after that happened, Dr. Martin Luther King, of course, was assassinated, and it kind of dismantled the Operation Breadbasket. The SCLC, of course, Breadbasket was just a branch of that operation. So SCLC maintained, but Operation Breadbasket, which was so effective, it took a fall. My question today, okay, I got some questions coming in. Said, brother, I have close ties to the city. Okay, of Dawson. Okay, very good. We'll talk about that later, and we're going to move forward, okay, towards solutions. I appreciate that, Sister Gwen. Sometimes we have to know the history. I find out a lot of young people, not just young people, but older people, don't actually know the history. We pick up a Google, read a little bit, but it's not a part of our DNA, so we really don't know why things are the way they are. But we have to move to some economic leverage. And my question on my Facebook is, what happened to our economic leverage, and how do we get economic leverage back? Okay, wow, now that's going to be something serious, because it's going to take some unity. Let me just close this article. It says, on the contrary, the consequences of disunity will continue to rob the community of economic leverage, and eventually it will rob us of the respect for one another. You know, the young people, nothing wrong with it, but they calling themselves, man, he a beast on the court. And the beast, and we don't realize sometimes that we're playing right into that mindset, that bestial mindset, because beasts actually, the lower animals who just look out for themselves. And the little selfish, some of the selfish characteristics that we have now grown to just embrace, we're going to have to take a look at envy, jealousy, some of the isms, some of the schisms, and of course racism and hate, is just rampant. So we have to begin to take a look at some of those things. You cannot change people unless they desire change. So we have to desire change in order to get change. Also, we got some of the other brothers. Good to see Brother Jeremiah. Hopefully the camera is good enough. We're going to continue to try to make things better as time goes on. But if we can, we're going to take some calls before we close out the show. Just want us to stay 30 minutes and just kind of build things up, just to let people know we're here. Here, the People Want to Know morning show on a Thursday morning, 10 o'clock. I'm your brother, Gary. Brother Pasha, once again, I thank you for watching, and as Sister Gwen keeps nudging me to move forward to some solutions. Now, there are a lot of variables when it comes to solutions. Of course, it won't happen overnight, and the solutions have already been given. Is what I'm basically trying to point out, that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. I think Dr. King and Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Marcus Garvey, some of them actually sacrificed and did an excellent job of creating programs. It's just now we have to build on that legacy right now. We have to continue to move forward and not just assimilate and not just think that things are okay. We have to go back to our economic leverage when it comes to some of those boycotts and that kind of thing. And that's hard to do. We don't have to boycott Christmas, boycott this or that, but we have to be a lot more strategic in leveraging our economics. And, when it comes to churches, I got to go there, actually doing business and doing some things and helping people in different ways. We have to look at some of those same models that were already there, because right now things have turned to the entertainment, and of course I'm in entertainment, but things have turned to entertainment, and we do a whole lot of entertaining and without giving marching orders, and that's what we need right now. So there's got to be a lot of variables that we must use in order to incorporate that leverage that we need, because we already have the solutions. Right now, we just don't have the leverage because we're not pooling our resources. We disunified, and the envy, hate, selfishness, and on and on. I can ramble for days, but Everybody is basically for themselves. Besides voting, though, there has to be some economic leverage, and I just want people to entertain that. Possibly until next week, if we have any other things, I will come online at at my leisure, and we're going to talk about some other things as well that we do need to get involved in. But right here in Southwest Georgia, I just want to thank you for tuning in. Those who did tune in, and we're going to give the live line probably next time. The number to call, if you can, take a pencil and write this down. The number to call is 229-888-1283. That's 229-888-1283. We're going to open up the live line possibly next week. We just wanted to kind of, get the bugs out this morning and just kind of look at that that particular thing, dealing with economic leverage, because actually that's where we're going to kind of stay for a little while until we catch it. During this holiday season, a lot of monies are being spent, and it was basically self-explanatory. Julian, hi, how you doing? Bring them on camera. Okay, bring them on camera. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, I got to learn how to bring them on camera. Julian, bring them on camera. Okay, there we go. Okay, we working it out. How you doing, Julian? Okay, are we there? There we go. Okay, how you doing, Julian? I got it. Okay, I'm learning some things. Okay, as we go. Okay, now we're getting. Okay, are we there? Are we there? There we go. Okay, how you doing, Julian? I got it. Okay, I'm learning some things. Okay, as we go. We're gonna learn as we go. Now we get. Okay. Okay, are we there? Are we there? There we go. Okay, how you doing, Julian? I got it. Okay, I'm learning some things. Okay. Okay, Jeremiah Pasha. Good morning. How you feeling? How you feeling? Pastor Brookins. Oh man, good to hear from you once again, Miss Gwen, Derek Thomas. Okay, Jeremiah Pasha. Antonio. Tony, DJ Thomas. Hey, how you doing? Okay, I'm finally opening up this thing. He's Facebook illiterate. Church Green, good morning. How you doing? All right. And Luke Mine. Okay, what's up, bro? How you doing? Okay, we got some comments coming in. I'm doing fine. Good to see you, Pastor Brookie. Now I actually can see your picture of you and your lovely wife. That's my classmate there. And as a matter of fact, Pastor Brookie, I want to thank you. At one time, Pastor Brookie, he co-hosted, was a co-host on a show that we did called Relevant Perspectives. We dealt with relevant perspectives on the radio station. Oh, I got something up too loud. Let me see what I got going on. Got an echo going. Let me try to find out what that is. Maybe I got my volume too loud. Okay, did I do it? Hello. Okay, we got to keep on. Okay, open the mixer. Let's get it again. Let's try it one more time. I think I got my volume up a little too loud. Are we there? Okay, I'm doing fine. How are you, my brother? It's just awesome. It's just awesome. And we just have to be down to the modern science of time and just use those tools that we have. Of course, Facebook and YouTube and all that, of course, is a tool that we can use in a positive manner as opposed to all the stuff that we see sometimes. I think we got a call. Somebody's giving me a call. Let's see what we got here. Name unavailable, and they calling from a long way. Let's see who we got. Good morning. How you doing? Good morning. How you doing? Oh, they called, and they got in, and they got scared. Woo, it's all good. Good morning. How you doing? You prepared. Don't be scared. Okay. Okay, they kind of backed off things. But we're going to close out right now. Thank everybody for tuning in. Once again, we're going to keep moving forward. You got to do it. Heal the healing. Be a part of the healing move. The movement is PW2K. People Want to Know Morning Show. I'm your host, Gary, and your brother and servant. Much love to you and your fam. Keep doing what you're doing. And let's just try to wake up. Once again, shout out to Mrs. Bussy over there, Lisa, at the Copy Center. Very strong sister, who's making it happen 24/7. and weathering the storm, and I'm so elated to see that happening. And we need more people like you. So you continue to teach the children as well of how to be business owners, and that's so important. I'm Gary once again. For the people want to know morning show.
Healing, be a part of the healing move. The movement is
okay. Hey, what's up? What's up? Oh man, just kind of getting the bugs out. You know, it's gonna take a little minute to get the bugs out. Julian, good morning. What's going on? Just had to talk. Thank you so much, Quinn. I'm a little illiterate in this thing, but we're gonna work it out. People want to know morning show because it's all about making the city a little bit better and relating to one another better. You know, I think we don't relate to one another the way we should, and we just need to do a better job. Once again, to Pastor Brookins and his family, Julian Hall. Okay, in the house. What's going on, my brother? Okay, I had somebody else to come in. Had a couple other people come in. I appreciate everybody who actually came in and commented. Probably next time we're going to be a little bit more amplified, and we're going to be a little bit more prepared. I had some notes and I had some things I wanted to talk about. If you can, pick up a copy of the Southwest Georgian newspaper, and there you can read that article about crime and economic development, because we understand that if we... Hey, 1 minute, I see we got echoes going again. I think I got it going. Ooh, I got two things going on. But if we dealt a lot better with our economic leverage, it would be a plus when it comes to crime and senseless murder due to robbery. I'm out. Once again, peace, love, soul, train, power to the people. Keep your eye on the prize and put God first. And no matter how high I get, I'll still be looking up. A prayer for everybody. Be the blessing you are. I'm Gary. Till next time, it's People Want to Know Show. We out.